Metal clanks against carrier deck. Petty Officer Sarah Chen loads another case of 20mm ammunition onto the conveyor belt. Sweat drips down her face as she stacks the heavy boxes with mechanical precision. To everyone aboard USS Gerald Ford, she's just another ordnance handler, another face in the crowd of 5,000 sailors. But here's what they don't know yet. Those same hands that load ammunition once defused 17 improvised explosive devices in a single deployment. 0 casualties, 0 mistakes. Admiral Richardson makes his routine inspection tour across the flight deck, 4-star insignia gleaming. 37 years of naval service. He's seen everything the Navy has to offer, but he's never seen what he's about to discover. Here's where it gets interesting. Sarah moves differently than the other ordnance handlers. Not just efficient, precise, every motion calculated, every safety check performed with unconscious expertise that takes years to develop. The Admiral stops behind her workstation. Petty Officer, you're moving those explosives like you've handled something more dangerous. Sarah doesn't look up from her ammunition inventory. Just following safety protocols, sir. But Richardson notices something else. A flash of ribbon beneath her uniform collar, a medal partially hidden under her regulation shirt. What's that decoration, sailor? Sarah's hands freeze over the ammunition case. For 18 months, she's kept this moment from happening. 18 months of loading bullets instead of defusing bombs. Standard service ribbon, sir. Let me see it. Here's what you need to understand. This conversation didn't start on a carrier deck. It started 3 years earlier in Kandahar province, Afghanistan, the day explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialist Sarah Chen discovered she had a gift for disarming devices that others couldn't even identify. For 26 months, Ghostwire was a legend whispered among combat engineers, the odd specialist who could defuse anything, the bomb technician who never lost a single soldier to an explosive device. But first, let me tell you why she disappeared. Operation Copper Shield, Helmand Province, March 2021. Sarah's odd team responded to reports of a complex-eyed network threatening a village evacuation route. 7 devices, daisy-chained, timer mechanisms counting down. Sarah had 43 minutes to save 200 civilians. Device after device, she worked with surgical precision, wire by wire, circuit by circuit. Her hands moved with confidence born from defusing hundreds of bombs. 42 minutes and 37 seconds later, she cut the final wire. 0 explosions, 200 lives saved. But the stress of perfection under pressure had carved scars on Sarah's psyche. When you're responsible for lives with every wire you cut, there's no margin for human error. She requested transfer to surface operations. Buried ghost wire. Chose to load ammunition instead of disarming it. But here's what they don't know yet. Admiral Richardson, I need to know what's happening with the ordnance handling. The voice crackles over the ship's intercom. We have a suspicious device in forward magazine 3. Richardson's expression changes. Suspicious device? Sir, it's not standard Navy ordnance. Appears to be an improvised explosive device, possibly left by hostile actors during the last port visit. The Admiral looks at Sarah. We need our best odd specialist down there. Sir, Petty Officer Martinez is off duty. Petty Officer Thompson is in sick bay. What about trained explosive specialists? Here's where everything changes. Sarah stops loading ammunition. 18 months of hiding. 18 months of pretending she's just another sailor. But when a bomb threatens her shipmates, Ghostwire doesn't stay buried. Admiral, I might be able to help. Your ordnance handling. Chen. Sir, I have odd training. Richardson studies her face. Something in her eyes suggests more than basic explosives training. What kind of training? Sarah takes a breath. Advanced. Afghanistan deployment. 37 minutes later, Sarah descends into forward magazine 3. Odd suit feeling like coming home. Bomb disposal tools in her hands for the first time in 18 months. Through the magazine lighting, she identifies the device. Pressure plate trigger. Cell phone detonator. Plastic explosive compound. Classic insurgent construction. But here's what the Admiral doesn't know yet. Sarah's analyzing more than just the bomb. She's processing the bomber's psychology, identifying his skill level, predicting his backup plans. This isn't just bomb disposal. This is understanding the mind that built the device. Her breathing becomes steady. Heart rate drops. The world disappears except for wires and circuitry. Sarah begins the disarmament sequence. Red wire connects to the timer mechanism. Blue wire runs to the pressure plate. Yellow wire leads to the primary charge. Standard 3-wire configuration with a twist. But here's what makes this more than standard. The device has a secondary trigger, hidden beneath the primary mechanism. Any other odd technician would cut the obvious wires and detonate the backup charge. Ghostwire sees what others miss. 23 minutes later, Sarah emerges from the magazine. Device neutralized. Ship secure. 0 casualties. Admiral Richardson waits at the magazine entrance. How did you know about the secondary trigger? Sarah removes her odd helmet. Experience, sir. But Richardson isn't finished. He pulls out his secure tablet and enters Sarah's service number into the classified personnel database. What appears makes him step back. Petty Officer Sarah Chen, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Specialist. Combat deployments. Classified. Devices neutralized. Classified. Operational code name. He stops reading and looks up. Ghostwire. Here's what you need to understand about that name. Ghostwire wasn't just another military odd specialist. For 26 months, she was the most effective bomb disposal expert in U.S. Central Command. 137 devices neutralized. 43 complex side networks dismantled. 0 friendly casualties. 0. Every bomb defused not just to eliminate the threat, but to protect innocent lives. Every operation executed with precision that saved more lives than the explosives could have taken. Chen. You're actually Ghostwire? For 18 months, Ghostwire was a legend. The odd specialist who could defuse anything. The technician who dismantled an entire bomb factory in Mosul without detonating a single device. But legends don't load ammunition on aircraft carriers. I just handle ordnance now, sir. But the Admiral has already made his decision. Not anymore. I'm recommending you for the Advanced Odd Instructor program. We need specialists like you training the next generation. Here's what happens next that changes everything. Word spreads through USS Gerald Ford like wildfire. The quiet ordnance handler who loads ammunition is Ghostwire. The sailor who stacked boxes for 18 months is one of the most decorated odd specialists in Navy history. Sailors who barely noticed Sarah before now approach with respect. The same hands that loaded bullets once saved thousands of lives by disarming bombs. Seaman Rodriguez finds Sarah at evening chow. Petty Officer Chen, is it true you're Ghostwire? Sarah looks up from her meal. I'm just ordnance handling, Rodriguez. But my brother deployed with Marines in Helmand. He said Ghostwire saved his convoy by defusing a roadside bomb network. Sarah's fork stops moving. She remembers that mission. 7 eyes connected in sequence. She spent 4 hours crawling between devices, cutting wires while under sporadic enemy fire. Your brother make it home? Yes, ma'am. Whole convoy credits Ghostwire with saving their lives. But here's the cost of that success. Every defused bomb carved a scar on Sarah's psychological landscape, not from fear, but from the weight of perfection. When lives depend on every wire you cut, there's no margin for error. Ghostwire didn't retire because she failed. She disappeared because success demanded too much of her humanity. The next morning, Admiral Richardson finds Sarah at her ordnance station, loading ammunition like nothing happened. Chen, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Command wants you back. Sarah's hands freeze over the ammunition cases. Sir, I chose surface operations for specific reasons. Here's where the facade finally cracks. My team leader died because I hesitated on a device. Sir, took an extra 30 seconds to analyze the circuitry. Cost Petty Officer Williams everything. The Admiral sits on an ammunition crate. I read the classified after-action report. That wasn't hesitation, Chen. Williams died waiting for me to cut the wire. You identified a secondary trigger that would have killed your entire team. 30 seconds saved 5 lives. But here's what you need to understand about Ghostwire. Perfect bomb disposal was never about speed. It was about perfect analysis, understanding not just how to cut wires, but which wires to cut, recognizing that every device carries the potential to save or destroy multiple lives. I don't make mistakes, sir. That's what made me Ghostwire. And that's exactly why we need you. 5 days later, Sarah stands before 19 aspiring odd specialists at the Norfolk Naval Base Training Facility, her ordnance uniform replaced by instructor gear. My name is Petty Officer Chen. For the next 12 weeks, I'll be teaching you advanced explosive device identification and disarmament procedures. A young seaman raises his hand. Petty Officer, What's your operational background? Sarah looks at the 19 eager faces, young sailors who need the best training possible to survive in combat zones and protect their teammates. I've been where you're going, and I'm going to make sure you come home with the skills to protect everyone who depends on you. For 12 weeks, Sarah transforms 19 good sailors into exceptional protectors. She teaches them circuit analysis, trigger identification, psychological profiling of bomb makers. But more importantly, she teaches them judgment. On graduation day, Admiral Richardson addresses the class. You've been trained by one of the finest OD specialists in Navy history. Petty Officer Chen, operational code name Ghostwire, has prepared you for challenges that will test everything you believe about precision and responsibility. After the ceremony, Seaman Martinez approaches Sarah. Petty Officer Chen, thank you for everything you taught us. Remember the fundamentals. Martinez, analyze everything, protect your teammates. Come home safe. Will you ever return to active OD operations? Sarah looks out at the training grounds. Maybe. When I'm ready to carry that weight again. That night, her phone buzzes. Text from Admiral Richardson. OD Command wants you for advanced instructor position, Naval Postgraduate School. Developing curriculum for next-generation bomb disposal specialists. Interested? Sarah stares at the message. Monterey, where Ghostwire could share everything she learned about saving lives through precise analysis and perfect execution. She types back, send me the details, sir. Here's where the story comes full circle. 4 months later, Petty Officer Sarah Chen arrives at the Naval Postgraduate School, not as the broken sailor who blamed herself for one tragic loss, not as the ordnance handler who loaded ammunition to avoid responsibility, as Ghostwire, the OD specialist who never truly disappeared. She stands before her first class of 30 advanced OD candidates. My name is Petty Officer Chen, but you probably know me by a different designation, Ghostwire. A murmur runs through the classroom. Ghostwire, the bomb disposal legend who could defuse anything, save anyone, and protect everyone. For the next 16 weeks, I'm going to teach you everything I know about explosive device analysis, threat assessment, and the psychological cost of perfect execution. But here's what you need to understand about being a protector. Ghostwire was never about individual bomb disposal statistics. It was about perfect analysis under impossible pressure. Understanding that every wire you cut carries the responsibility of bringing your teammates home alive. You're not here to become bomb disposal technicians. You're here to become lifesavers. Every technique I teach serves one purpose: protecting the people who depend on you. For 16 weeks, Sarah transforms 30 exceptional sailors into perfect guardians. She teaches them technical mastery, but more importantly, wisdom, how to handle psychological pressure, how to make life or death decisions. On graduation day, Sarah addresses her students one final time. You came here as technicians. You leave as protectors. Carry that responsibility with honor. Later that evening, Admiral Richardson finds Sarah on the training facility observation deck. Any regrets about returning? Sarah adjusts her OD tools, preparing for tomorrow's advanced training exercise. No, sir, this is where Ghostwire always belonged. Training the next generation? Ghostwire was never about individual missions. Every OD specialist I train might save dozens of lives. Every technique I teach might bring someone's family member home safe. She examines a practice device. Perfect analysis at close range. That's worth more than any single bomb Ghostwire ever defused. Remember Sarah Chen the next time you encounter someone whose abilities seem to extend beyond their job description. Someone whose calm precision suggests training they can't discuss. Real heroes don't retire from protecting others, they just find new ways to serve. Ghostwire never disappeared. She evolved, from individual operator to force multiplier, from saving dozens to training thousands. Here's what you need to understand about hidden veterans. They're everywhere. The quiet mechanic who moves with tactical precision, the careful electrician whose wire work suggests explosive training, the methodical technician whose skills extend far beyond their job description. They chose civilian assignments not because they stopped being protectors, but because they found new ways to serve, new people to protect, new missions that matter. And when the moment demands it, when lives hang in the balance, those skills resurface, not because they want to return to danger, but because some responsibilities never end. Ghostwire reminds us that real heroism isn't about individual accomplishments. It's about the quiet choice to protect others, even when no one knows your true capabilities, especially then.